Hitbox! KO! Hello everyone, we're back for another episode of Hitbox. This is episode 4, and this is the one you've all been waiting for, because today we're joined with Jack. Not just Jack, Blonde Jack.
Oh, is that how I'm referred to?
Well, you know, some people have no problem with their full name being talked about, but since you've already got kind of a nickname going anyway, might as well. We episode 1 we had Big Naz, and that was kind of what we went with. So, you know. So
it's a pleasure to be here, Jamie. Thank you.
Jack, who are you? Explain to the audience who you are. Why are you here?
I'm Jack. I love video games. I spend all the time I'm not doing computational chemistry, probably playing video games in one way or another. Yeah. So
you heard that. So, you know, computational chemist. So this guy, he's very clever. So what we're expecting here is a very unique set of games. And, you know, when you hear his top 5, you know, you take it as gospel. This man knows what he's talking about, okay? Take it from a computational chemist, you know. He works with computers all the time. He knows his video games, all right? And I, for this particular episode, we have no video stream going on. And the reason for that, I know you enjoy seeing our faces. I know. But for this particular episode, we had some technical difficulties. We both had technical difficulties, and so it ain't happening. What were you drinking, by the way, Jack? Because you said you had something.
I'm just drinking a Budweiser.
The classic.
Fancy.
The classic
Background beer.
I'm drinking a Nut Bastard.
A nut bat. Ah, you nut bastards! Crazy boy.
Crazy boy. So we are going to start this podcast by talking about some games of your childhood that I asked you previously to have a little think about. So, you know, I try on this podcast. I try to aim for like 5 or so, but you know, it's a loose format. Well, give me a game. Let's start us off.
I might have let you down a bit because I think for me, my favorite games have come out quite recently. I will start with the main one from my childhood, but
yeah. So we've got the childhood games, and then after we've discussed that, that's when we talk about your top 5 overall.
Oh, brilliant! Oh, okay.
Oh no, these are separate. These are separate.
Yeah.
Things.
Oh, I'm like even.
Apologies
better.
if I wasn't clear
enough. No. That's great. That's actually great. Because it was hard to choose between the two. No, so I kind of went from my favorite with kind of ignoring my childhood game. All right, brilliant.
Yeah, so with the childhood games, I'm looking for like some true nostalgia. So, if possible, you know, I love it when some obscure PlayStation 1 game comes out. But you know, whatever you played, I want to hear it.
Yeah, it was. I need to Google the exact title, but it was a Yu-Gi-Oh game on PlayStation 1.
Was it Duelist of the Roses?
It was no, it was that was the PS2 one. It was like Forbidden something.
Forbidden Memories?
Yeah, Forbidden Memories. That was the one. But I didn't have a memory card on my for my for the game, so I had to restart every time.
Oh god!
So I learned how to beat the first couple of levels quite well. I would just keep playing it, and then Need for Speed Most Wanted, which
whoa, hang on.
All right, I'll talk about Yu-Gi-Oh more.
I want to hear about Yu-Gi-Oh for a bit. So, you know, we've got time. We've got time to really let. You know,
it was like set in ancient Egypt.
Of course.
And you were like the son of this person, and you get like kicked out of the temple because you lose a Yu-Gi-Oh game or something. And then
Wait, so so obviously ancient Egypt,
yeah,
the pharaoh was actually called Yugi. So like, so they actually called it a game of Yu-Gi-Oh even back then. They named.
Yeah, he was there, but you didn't play as him.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Let me just find it. Oh, I wanna. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, Forbidden Memories. Oh,
So I'm gonna have a little look at this as well.
This game, like, let's put some like gameplay up or something, because it's.
I will do that actually, since we haven't got our video.
I can stream, or you can do it.
In the post. Don't worry about it.
Cool. But yeah, it was great. Apparently, I love the story. The characters were great. Quite frankly, I'm embarrassed. You could beat it in an hour and a half, apparently, according to this video. I never figured out how to do that in one playthrough as a child. It was one of those. I never finished it or got any good cards because I was never be able to save my place.
Hang on a minute. This game. Okay.
Sealed Memories.
This is really funny. This game is so funny. I'm just looking at like the characters don't make any sense. Like they're just kind of. That's so funny.
No, it was great.
Like they've got all these ancient Egyptian characters, but then they've also got like modern day.
Yep. I was a big fan of the card game at the time as well. Man, looking at the little comments, all these videos, it's just like I can't read any of them.
Around the same sort of time, I would have been playing Yu-Gi-Oh on the Game Boy. Well, actually, probably a few years later. Actually, it was on the Game Boy Advance. So, I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh. I think it was called World Tournament. Worldwide Edition. That's what it was called. Don't ask me why it's called that. Oh man, I used to play that game all the time. I loved Yu-Gi-Oh as a kid.
Yeah. I also, interesting caveat about how I owned the game. I would rent it from the library.
Oh my man, there's so many steps to this. This is so old school.
And then I shouldn't admit this on recording, but I ended up like not returning it to that library.
I can hear sirens in the background already.
They've still got it somewhere at home. Cased or smashed up as those PS1 cases were. But that was all I played for such a long time because my sister had given me the PS1. And then she went to uni and took it back. And I never played Yu-Gi-Oh! Sealed Memories again. I wonder if there's there's probably an emulated version. I will play it at some point.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I type it in on Google Images, and like a fair portion of them are clearly 2 HD for PlayStation 1. That's clearly an emulator. Oh, cool. Yeah. Oh, okay. So, what's your next pick for me?
Next pick was Need for Speed Most Wanted, and there's another really sad story around that game as well.
Love myself a good sad story.
Yeah. So, my dad finds an original Xbox in the street. Sort of down. Like, he lived in this weird cul-de-sac off the side of an industrial estate. It's just down one of the alleyways there. It's just this PS1. And he's like, "Oh, my son might like this." He takes it in. Inside, there's a disc, and the disc, it's a pirated, like burned to CD copy of Need for Speed Most Wanted, and I played the hell out of that. It was such great, and oh man, the police chases were great. The racing was great. The map was a lot of fun. There was good customization in the driving. and I played it for about 6 months before that, and Call of Duty Big Red one, but I didn't like that as much. But I was really big for the Need for Speed.
Yeah.
And actually, funny story for you, Jamie. The original Killing Floor from Unreal
Really?
Tournament 2004 was installed via a mod thing, because you were on Xbox, you could install mods for games back then.
So this is originally a PC game then, Killing Floor 1?
Yeah.
Like, as a mod?
Well, it was a mod for Unreal Tournament 2004, which I also
Interesting.
had on that. And played the original Killing Floor back in 2005, 2006. And yeah.
Huh.
And then, and like, play a lot of Need for Speed. And then it turns out it was the neighbor's Xbox. And the mother had thrown it out of the window in anger at one of the kids. And when they'd gone around to get it, it was gone. Of course, because my dad just finds it in the street.
That's so funny.
So he eventually gives it back, and I lose all my progress and stuff, and probably ruined their progress on their games.
Oh, you've reminded me of speaking of ruining progress. On the Game Boy Advance, I played it. Spyro Season of Ice, and I had a lot of fun with it, and I was taking my time and blah blah blah. And one of my cousins, I was a kid, and my cousin was a little bit younger than me, so but he decided he wanted to play it, and I had no problem with that. But he started a new game, and when it came up with the message saying you're going to have to erase all the data to do that, he just clicked yes, because he didn't actually know what the word erase meant. Heartbroken. I was sobbing.
God.
I was so sad.
God.
It was just like, and the thing is, there was a cheat code to unlock everything, but of course I was on like the final area, but like the unlock everything, that's not the same.
Yeah,
because I hadn't unlocked everything. So yeah, sorry, I misremembered the story.
No, that's awful. Give me 1 second, I just need to do something.
Okay,
Sorry about that. I just had to unplug something. Can you hear me still?
I can hear you still.
I hate having by being bound on my desk by a cable that I can't. If I need to move across the room, it doesn't matter. Next game. Well, I have a similar sad story about lending a friend something and then them breaking it, losing your progress.
What game was that?
PS2, The Incredibles game.
I actually remember that.
It was good. It was a good game. Like, it was good fun. Plus, big Incredibles fan at the time. Between that and the Lord of the Rings Return of the King game.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I was big in. I was really into movies as a kid, so I would also play a lot of the games from the movies that came out. Back when movie games used to be actually kind of good, or at least maybe I just had lower standards back then.
I used to play the Two Towers on PS2. A lot. I found out that my cousins owned. As we know as a kid, I played that game over and over and over and over again. And so when I went to my cousins and they had Return of the King, it was amazing. Like, here we go. Like, the next game. Like, oh my god, stupid. It's so stupid. It's like, of course there's going to be a Return of the King game, but I had no idea.
The Two Towers game was real good as well, though.
It's kind of similar, isn't it? Same sort of game, like in terms of gameplay.
The Helm's Deep mission, so tough. It was a lot harder than the Return of the King, I think.
I seem to remember the whole thing being kind of like there were huge difficulty spikes
Yeah.
So, certain levels, you got to
Especially
a certain
when
point.
you saw the Urukai, they would just kill you.
Oh, they were the worst.
They were really the worst. What else? This brings me on to a game of my childhood that's in my top list.
Interesting. Save that game.
I'll save it because I got one more that I can talk about, which would probably on a few people who were born in 1997. That original Spider-Man game on the PS1. Again, I had to restart it, but I did once leave the PS1 running for as long as I could because I didn't want to lose progress on Spider-Man. And then my mum turned it off, and I was so angry. But with the Incredibles game, sorry, I lent my PS1 Slim, right? And the Incredibles game to my friend while I went on holiday.
A PS1 Slim?
Yeah, PS2 Slim. You know,
PS2.
The Slim line.
Okay. Yeah.
And the Incredibles game. I lent it to him while I went on holiday. And I came back. And either him or his little sister had put in chocolate in the disk drive. And it wrecked the console forever.
Oh, no.
Funny enough, this same kid had actually stolen a few Warhammer figures off me at one point. But that's a story for another day. That
is heartbreaking. What
it
a
was
stupid kid thing to do.
Yeah, I know, right? Absolutely terrible.
So a couple of other people on this podcast have brought up Spider-Man on PlayStation 1. It's quite a popular pick, actually. Is that the game that has... Well, you say you might not have even finished it. Apparently, at the end of the game, you go against like some sort of freak show boss. Big Naz brought it up, and he said he was actually like properly scarred as a child. He found it so scary.
I think he's talking about the PS2 one, because you go into this like carnival clown
no
maze like Saw, or is it like
that sounds terrifying. It wasn't, because it was definitely the PlayStation 1 game, because I found the gameplay, and it's I don't think I ever finished it because I never got very far in the game. I just replayed the first level so many times. That's what you do as a kid. You just like you watch the same film over and over again, or you'll play the same bit of gameplay over and over again. It's funny, isn't it? Because I did the same thing, but I definitely had a memory card, but also I know for sure that I used to have to start. I had to start again from games. So I think maybe I got to a certain age when I figured out how to use the memory card.
Yeah.
Whereas before I just wasn't saving. And I think because I played Digimon World, and that's for a kid anyway. That's quite a long RPG, and I definitely saved that. But I think before I got into that, I was just too young to understand how to save. I don't know.
Yeah. I think I remember similarly struggling with the concept of saving games, or even operating the PS2's navigation system, or doing anything in the PS2. I was just like confused as hell as a child.
I don't think that's necessarily entirely because we were children either. I definitely remember it being really awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would always have problems with the discs. Then the readers would always break after a certain amount of time on the PS2. And all my discs would get scratched because I had no idea how to treat them right. My parents didn't really care. That's what left me to it in those cases.
I think
if I was gaming, I wasn't playing with trains under the table in a restaurant.
I think I'm sure I lost a disc or two to scratching, but I do know that my PlayStation 1 games are definitely intact. But I also know that I totally had more games than what I still have left, so it might have been a case of destroying them. Also, like you said earlier, all of them the case is destroyed.
Yeah.
Like, all of them.
Do you want to talk about handheld now?
Oh, yeah, please.
So, my first handheld console was a Game Boy Yellow that I got at a charity shop or a charity jumble sale.
Is this a standard Game Boy that's coloured yellow?
This was the oldest one. Like, it didn't have a colour screen. It had...
Oh, wow.
And I played tennis and golf on that a lot. And then I got a DS, but played Game Boy games on it. And I played...
That's a jump.
I know, that was the jump. I didn't play anything in between. The original fucking Game Boy Yellow... it was massive as well.
Yeah, they're huge. They're huge and tiny little screens.
Yeah, absolute tiny screens. I have a vivid memory of me playing it on like the cruise to France, and me beating like someone on tennis. And I was so happy. It was like one of my first gaming memories. I was just like, this is the best.
That is so. This is the sort of wholesome content that this podcast was created for.
And then following that, I played the Prince of Persia games on the Game Boy. But remember, the DS had a Game Boy slot underneath it.
Hey, Prince of Persia. Oh wait, that would have been a Game Boy Advance game then.
Okay.
I believe, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Game Boy Advance, they're always back compatible to one generation prior.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was so funny because the DS's sort of games, they formatted to those tiny cards, which they stuck with after that. Yeah. But it had still such a giant bit of the handheld was taken up for a slot for backwards compatibility, which is very bad for.
Honestly, that is just wonderful. I think that is just so wonderful. You don't have that with the Switch. There's no 3DS slot. I wish there was. But yeah, that's
or a Wii U slot.
See, I can forgive them for not doing that because that would require a freaking disk drive.
That's true.
But then again, also I can imagine the dual screen setup of the 3DS being a nightmare to try and sort out on the Switch.
Oh my god! Unless they had wireless casting on the Switch, which they need to get sorted.
It would be like some sort of stupid. You'd have to like hold it vertically, and like the Joy-Cons would have to come out. It'd be awful.
Yeah, you get like an arm brace for it.
That's a very Nintendo thing to do. That'd be bundled with it at launch as well.
I'll be surprised if the next Switch or the one after that is a thing you slot into a VR headset.
No, I'm not convinced.
Give it 10 years.
Well, no, because you can already make the Switch virtual reality as it is. So, like all VR is just a screen strapped to your face. And, and there's a Switch. Do you remember Labo?
Yeah,
the cardboard.
Is there a cardboard mask you can?
It's a virtual reality Labo, and they made some VR games for the Switch.
Oh, fair enough. They beat me to it. That's a shame.
Definitely not the future of Switch. I mean, I hope not. Jesus, it's awful. Okay, give me some. So, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun talking about like the DS craze. So when the DS came out, it was kind of like the perfect storm for our age group, where the internet was kind of still young-ish, and so PictoChat on DS was so appealing, and it seemed like everyone our age had a DS. Do you have any fun PictoChat stories?
I don't. I never used it. Honestly, I never had any friends to DS with.
No. Not even like randoms.
No.
I'm shocked. No, because it used to be like you go on a school trip and like there's definitely at least a couple people bought their DS with them, and you just go on there and like draw dicks and stuff. Like
My parents would let me take my DS on school trips because they were too worried I'd break it.
fair enough.
No, I played a lot of brain training.
Yeah, brain training was great.
I went to Sri Lanka and I played a hell of a lot of brain training while I was in Sri Lanka, and that's the reason I'm so smart now. So that's the DS for you. I was like brain age of 80. That's amazing. And then my son was like, no, that's terrible.
Yeah, like that's the worst.
I'm like, oh, am I not very good at this then?
Oh, that's so funny.
I thought I was brain age 22. Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I want. I fought for that 22, man.
Oh, yeah, I actually really... They did a really good job with that game, though. That, in fairness, a lot of people bought it, and it was actually really fun for all ages.
Oh, my parents were like, yeah, it's got to be educational. You have one fun game, one educational game. So I got Tomb Raider. Oh, no, so I got Prince of Persia, Brain Training. And then eventually Nintendogs. Because we had Labradors, and they were like, you should buy a Nintendog so you can look after Labrador when you go on holiday as well.
So are you telling me? Let me get this straight. You're telling me that your Nintendo DS career was Nintendogs, Prince of Persia on the Game Boy Advance, and Brain Training.
There's 2 more games that got added to that later, which were Super Mario Bros.
Of course.
And there was like a Warhammer 40,000 game.
What? I didn't know that.
Let's find it, shall we?
Yes, please.
It was like a squad. It was like an individual squad-based, turn-based shooter game.
Oh, look at this. Squad Command. Warhammer
Squad
40K.
Command, that's the one.
Hey, this...
It's so difficult, I couldn't beat it in the end, but I had a lot of fun with it.
Oh, it was really fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's pretty sick for a DS game, you know.
Always been a big fan of Warhammer. Yeah, it was great because you had like the top screen and then you had like the tactical map below. And yeah, and you can see like pictures of it there. Tactical map above, and like you had like a certain amount of moves and you shooting. It's a bit like, you know, so many of those sort of strategy games out there now.
Hey, I wish there were more. It's dying.
And now they are also, speaking of old 40k games, on the PS2, Tau Fire Warrior.
What?
It was a first-person shooter set in the Warhammer universe, the only one that's existed up until Deathwing.
This is an... wow, I've never heard of this. Interesting.
It was great fun.
Huh.
It was silly.
I'm on Google Images right now having a little look.
Yeah. And it was like so strange. You're like, for all the 40k games, why Tau?
Yeah.
Why are you playing as Tau? But I mean, fair enough for them doing it. It was good fun. Again, never beat it. It's too difficult for me.
So there's an obvious omission here.
And I also rented this one from the library, but I did return it.
You did return it?
Yeah, I did return this one.
Good. There's an... you know what? Actually, quick aside to my renting games. I used to do the same thing with Blockbuster.
Yeah. Well,
it's like that whole concept is not... I have no... I mean, obviously I'm older. I'm not a kid, so it's different. But like the whole concept of renting something seems so silly now. Like I wouldn't want to rent a game, but at the time, you know, maybe it's because games is more easily accessible now that renting seems a little bit alien. I don't know. What's your take on that?
Well, how much would you spend to rent a game? Like $2.99? Something for like a couple of days.
Yeah.
It was good fun. It let you try stuff instead of buying, which is great for, you know,
great for kids.
Who can't really afford games and kids. Yeah,
it's kind of kids, isn't it? Like
But now you have free games.
Yeah,
that are super popular.
true.
So, there's no real market for renting. It doesn't really have a. I swear there's still places you can rent digital versions of games, like online. I'm pretty sure there's somewhere it exists. But I don't know how they pull it off, so yeah.
Well, I think...
I'll like send you a disc for the post, maybe? Who knows?
No, what? There's no... You could definitely do renting digitally, for sure, like, easily. I mean...
Yeah,
they do it with movies still. So
yeah, modern games, but modern games are tailored to. They want you to keep playing. Like I was playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, they really want you to keep playing.
Well,
it wants you to keep playing so much.
I've got.
And,
we both have Game Pass, and I find with Game Pass, that kind of to me fills that void. The games that I want to play on Game Pass are games that I would finish fairly quickly. That I wouldn't want to spend full price on.
Same with the EA Access, yeah. And I completely agree that it fills the financial hole for renting for people who can't afford 60 quid for a AAA game. But it's so in-house, and there's so many of them.
Yes.
That it's like, if it's not really all-encompassing, but then again, there's so many games out there that it doesn't matter. You're like, oh, if I get Game Pass, I'll play the games in Game Pass. If I get EA Pass, I'll play the games on there. I get one, I'll cancel, I'll get the other. Yeah, people will move about, restart their subscriptions and cancel them when new games come.
So before we talk about your top 5 games, there is something that I feel like you've missed out here. Is your PC gaming career.
Yeah.
When did that start? What age did you start playing PC games?
Probably earlier than... Probably around the same time I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh! At my mum's house on the PS1. I go to my dad's in Bristol, and on his PC I used to play Age of Empires, the original one, and Harry Potter 1 and 2,
on
and
the PC.
3, and 4, and then I stopped playing. And Age of Empires 2, Age of Empires 3, and Age of Mythology. Grab them on a lovely little bundle, Kiss My Childhood, and Total War, Medieval 2, and Rome. So there's quite a few. But there was, where I lived, I was so lucky as a child. Because by where my dad lived when he moved from Bristol was a little PC gaming sort of hangout spot, right? For Wild World, they had like PCs, they had like 20, 30 PCs there. And that's why I really got into it. And one of the first games I remember playing there was Killing Floor, because I remembered it from the Xbox, because it was the similar time. And I fell in love with it so much. I absolutely loved Killing Floor because it really scared me when I was like, 8, 9. But I was like so thrilled how scary it was.
So that's when you were introduced into Killing Floor. That's interesting.
Yeah. Very young.
Okay. I think I never played any proper purposely scary games. Not because I wasn't exposed to them. But there's 2 games that I was really, really frightened of. I used to watch my dad play Return to Castle Wolfenstein. And,
all right.
it was kind of scary, actually.
Yeah.
I don't think you can't call that a horror game, but pretty freaky. Lots of zombies, lots of jump scares. I never played it myself mainly because first-person shooters on a gamepad were too much of an issue for me at that age.
Yeah.
That and I used to. I got around this, but I used to play Time Splitters 2 as well.
Oh,
And, I loved Time Splitters 2.
Yeah.
But when I was first introduced into that, I was just watching my dad before he just gave me the game. But he like playing the Notre Dame level. It's kind of spooky. There's lots of zombies, and I wasn't used to that.
Yeah. Like, I was always like scared by things and thrilled by it. Like seeing my dad would play GTA, and I'd watch, and I loved it. But I was never allowed to play it myself, and even then, I was eventually told I wasn't allowed to watch him play.
I played loads of Vice City at my dad's.
Yeah, Vice City. That's the one. I don't know if there's anything else I've really missed out apart from one of them, which is an early one. But that's the one that's also on my favorites list. So I can talk about that now if you like.
Well, so this is a good time for us to now start talking about your top 5.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's hear it.
We'll go 5 to... Well, so the game, out of all the PC games that I've played, the one that ended up occupying the most of my time, because I love Warhammer, was Dawn of War. All of them.
Hang on a sec. So this is in order, yeah? So
yes, this is 5.
This is number 5, okay.
Yeah. And I mean, like, the Dawn of War 1 series, so 1, Winter Assault, Dark Crusade, Soulstorm, absolutely loved it. Really liked the second, though it was a smaller scale, so it didn't have quite the same feel to it. And didn't really like the third, but the first one, man, as a kid, I would wake up, right? I'd wake up at 5:30 in the morning before school to play it. Yeah.
That is... Hey, I was... that's awesome. That is awesome.
I would actually get up before really early to play games a lot before school.
Hey, mate, when I kind of still do that now. If there's a game that I'm obsessed with, I will get up a little bit early to have a cheeky little play sesh before I go to work. That is...
I should do that. I don't do it anymore. I now walk myself to work. I go around to the park, walk myself back. Like, yeah, right for work. Wow, you can take a shower now. It's great that work has facilities. Dawn of War. Story was so good in each one, and the way it progressed, and the scale of it, and oh man, and there was just small things like the animations, and I would play it at. I bought the triple pack in Frome. No, in Wells, where Hot Fuzz is filmed, actually, in an old like PC store.
That is.
And I was so happy. I was like, Mom, please can I buy it? Please can you buy it? And she was like, how much is £22? She was like, woo! And I was like, please. And because I didn't really get bought much, we're very poor.
Is this the place that you showed me? Was that Wells? Like you showed me.
We went to Bath.
Yeah. No. I know that. I mean, like, do you still live? Well, you know. Do you still live near there? Like,
yeah,
I'm trying to figure out where that is geographically.
It's like 30 miles from my house. That's where you went.
Yeah,
it's like a bus ride away, really.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's where they filmed Hot Fuzz, but that was still man. I used to wake up early before work. I play it, and then when the second one came out, I was so happy, and yeah, big influence on my childhood. Because I couldn't really afford to buy Warhammer, so apart from like birthdays, so playing that was just a substitute, and I come up with my own paint schemes, and yeah, it was great fun. Maybe not very sociable. I rarely ever play with anyone online or anything. Just play the campaigns.
It was only when I became, well, and I'm not actually an adult, a teenager. When I started playing RTS games with other people, and the only people who were into RTS games when I was my dad.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I was a kid, I was always just playing the scenarios and stuff. It's great fun.
I remember when I got to play. I once played Age of Empires 3 with my stepdad. It was the first time I'd ever played like another game with another person like that online, and I was so happy. But then I beat him. Anyway, that was number 5. Number 1.
Such a solid pick. Okay, next one.
Number 4. The number 4 slot is reserved for my favorite horror game of all time, because I thought I'd put horror games in their own little category.
Yeah.
And big fan of horror, as I said. I love being scared, and it was hard to pick this one, and it's also quite new, but it is Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, I've already written it out. I already wrote it in the Excel sheet.
How did you know? I've replayed it a bunch. I've played all the DLCs. I love the little modes that they have inside. Absolutely terrified by it when I first played it. Really intense on some points. Especially I've been playing at the hardest difficulty at the moment. I've actually stopped for a while.
So intense.
I'm now playing Resident Evil 0 because I want to experience the rest of the series. Before Village comes out. Mm-hmm. But 7 is just so... And it's so visceral. Like, you get your arm chopped off right at the beginning. You're like, this doesn't happen in horror games. And then you just get stitched back on. You're like, oh, okay, this is how it's going to be. And you just, like, get so damaged. And the whole... The most horrific moment is the bits when you're in the bug house with the lady. I don't know if you've been there yet. The bugs crawl across the screen.
Yep.
And all your arms. You actually I just got the shivers. That made me feel uncomfortable when the swarms are approaching you and stuff. Because you got to build a flamethrower before you can conquer it. And it's so it was so intense. And the story is great. And the characters are really well portrayed. I think it's got some of the best voice acting out of the Resident Evil series. I've replayed 2 and 3 recently, the remakes, and they're not as good as 7 in terms of fear. 2 was really, really good. 3 had some really good moments.
Yeah.
On the whole, Resident Evil 7 was a ride for me. You don't feel safe throughout the game. Because right when you feel like you've got a hand of the enemies and the combat and stuff, they up the ante. The boss fights are really intense because the first person aspect means and how slow you are and so much. It's so
I've played. I haven't got too far in Resident Evil 7. I've played, I don't know, probably something like 25%, a third of it. I recently bought Resident Evil 2, and I'm almost finished that. I'm probably about 75% of the way through that.
Well, let me say, Resident Evil 2 needs to be played through 4 times before you've completed it.
Well, I know that, but I also know that it's not really.
Actually, at least twice, because the second time you play through it is different.
Yes. I know that it needs to be played through twice.
Yeah.
But even the second time, it's not like it's a new game or anything.
To be different boss fights in the end.
Fair
and
enough.
Different levels in some places. It's everything you've done in the first playthrough also happens. So it just takes place alongside.
Oh, really? It's that big?
Yeah.
So do you play? So I'm playing as Leon. So you play as Claire in the second. So it's a completely different perspective.
Yeah, on the same events. So when you meet Claire,
is Leon
when you meet
around?
Claire in the
yeah,
you'll meet them from the other side and things.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that in depth.
And there's a few different characters as well.
Okay, fair enough. That sounds very much worth.
It's good fun.
I'm loving it. I think it's absolutely awesome.
2 is really good fun as well. That's why I put Resident Evil 7 / the series.
Yeah.
But 7 is. I'm gonna replay it again on its hard. I'm gonna try and finish it as hardest difficulty. I was just getting stuck on the bosses because it's so difficult when you can barely heal. And it stopped being horrific and more like I've just retried this boss fight 5 times now, and I'm just not keen to keep going. More than 5. You know me, I just keep trying and trying.
So I'm nervous. I'm nervous because with Resident Evil 2, like I said, I've played Resident Evil 7, but not as much. With Resident Evil 2, they really starve you for ammo, and for the first boss fight, I was pretty comfortable. At the end of the boss fight, obviously I wasn't. I was kind of exhausted of ammo. I'm nervous. I'm nervous about a random boss fight coming up where I have no choice. I have no ammo. That makes me... I think that alone is scary enough. Just the fear
They'll
of a
provide
future
you with
encounter.
There'll be ammo somewhere. I like the secrets in 2. Making sure you do all the little things.
It's like... It's obviously terrifying, but it's a puzzle game too. Like it's so good. So good.
Like making sure you find all the weapon upgrades in the police station.
But
like
sorry to hijack that to Resident Evil 2, but back to Resident Evil 7. That game was when I realised that my little brother was like basically a teenager, because I played it with him, and like he's not that scared. He's kind of finding it like he's more kind of finding the intense gore kind of funny. He's not a little kid anymore. Like he can deal with this, and it's like the most horrific game I've ever played.
But it's the difference between playing it with someone else and playing it alone in your dark room with headphones on, which is how I experienced it. I
played through Outlast 1 entirely on my own. Awful. Yeah, terrible.
It makes a difference.
Yeah.
It really makes a difference because you're the like, other people make you take the immersion out, don't they? But when you're immersed in the game, you're really like focusing.
It's interesting that you said that you're playing through Resident Evil because I'm playing it through with my girlfriend, and she as you know, not a gamer, but she absolutely loves watching me play.
Yeah.
And so,
wait, are you playing 2 with her?
Yes, at the moment we're playing 2, and we've decided that we're going to make our way through the entire franchise. Because it's other than
can I do it with you? I'm playing 0 at the moment, and we can. It's such a hard game. All the originals are so hard.
Oh, the originals are really hard. I think I might skip 5 and 6 though, because they're not really the same. They're not horror. They're more action.
I'm still gonna play them because I haven't played 5 and 6. I've played 4.
Okay.
And I've played 2 and 3 now. So
have you played
and 1? So I just need to play 0, and then I'll play 5 and 6.
Have you played Revelations?
Nope. Need to do that too.
I've played Revelations 1, the whole thing, and that's a really good game, actually. Yeah. That's kind of underrated, I think.
So I'm going to say Resident Evil is also one of the first games that introduced me to the concept of meat alchemy, which I'll shout out on this podcast right now. It's my meat alchemy friend.
Yes, I will put hashtag meat alchemy on the YouTube video.
The one downside, the reason Resident Evil 7 is higher on my list is purely because I feel like the mold creatures could have been a little scarier.
I love how specific that criticism is.
Just one quant, because I don't know.
You're allowed that.
I realized that when I played 2 and 3, zombies are great, but Nemesis and what's his face,
Mr. X.
Oh, we're playing Resident Evil 3 on the hardest difficulty with Mr. X, man. There are actually the first half of the game is brilliant. The second half is just right.
Mr. X is I felt that is up there actually with probably one of the the highest amount of dread that I've ever felt in a game, because it's not. I mean, RE2 is not like Outlast. Outlast is very, very linear, very scripted.
Yeah.
RE2 is like, actually, if you use too many bullets, you might want to go back to another save because you might actually be mess yourself up.
Yeah.
And so the concept of an unkillable, and even when you take him down, he's right back up not that long after.
Yeah.
Oh. Sorry. Yeah, go on.
Like, if you get a chance to play 3, it's best on its hardest difficulty. Nemesis is like Mr. X will just follows you, but he just harasses you. He'll just charge. He'll jump out of nowhere and get you, and he never leaves you alone. And there are parts of it. It's great if you play on its lowest difficulty. It's not, but if you play at its highest, he actually appears more in the game than he does on his lower difficulty. Like, he harasses you in bits that you thought you were safe in, and you don't have safe rooms anymore.
That's disgusting. No. That's disgusting.
He can attack you in safe rooms.
Well, hey, hang on. Resident Evil 2, normal difficulty, bloody main hallway. Oh, okay, all good. In comes Mr. X. Get out of here! This is my safe room.
But you should have run up, save right while he's there, and then run away.
It's embarrassing when you look at the save count. It's I think I'm on 40 saves. I'm just every time I walk past the save machine, it's yep.
That's the thing about 0 and 1. Gotta have those ink ribbons, man. You can't be saving all the time.
Are you playing the HD remaster?
Zero HD remaster, yeah.
Okay, I think there's a 1 and a 0.
Yeah.
HD, yeah. Okay.
I've got both, yeah. I've played both. I've played 1.
I've actually, in my library on Steam, I've got quite a few Resident Evil games. I've got 5, 4, Revelations. I need to play them. Revelations 2. Oh my! I haven't played that. These are from bundles and stuff. They're good games.
Yeah, they are good games. Overall, I'm a big fan of the Resident Evil series. So the switch to first person in 7 made it a little more real, and the fact that your character isn't some soldier or anything, right? You're not some I'm not a member of Stars.
Yeah.
Gun. You're just some guy who's coming to find his wife who's been missing. I'm hyped for Village.
8 Lidge.
8 Lidge.
I'm really hyped for it. It looks so good. I'm kind of, and I feel like after 8 Lidge is out, I feel like they're going to do a 4 remake. I reckon. I can see it coming. And 4's considered to be the best one. People love 4. I've never played it.
4 was more action.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, the remakes are kind of more action as well, though, aren't they?
Well, I mean, I guess, but not by today's standards, but by the PlayStation 1 originals.
Yeah, by the standards of those. Shall we move on to number 3?
Yes, that's a great. I love talking about that. Yes, please.
Here's to the only game that's ever made me cry. This is why it's on number 3, and it's I've played through it twice, maybe 3 times actually. Now it's not Resident Evil, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Solid.
Campaign, absolutely amazing. I replay it again and again and again. I replayed it in fully first person, actually, the most recent time. To make it as immersive as possible with a curved monitor and headphones on.
That's a long game to be able to play.
I played it once on the PS4, and then I did half of it on the Xbox One at home. And then I've done all of it again on the PC.
That is so exciting. Cool.
I didn't really bother about online, but yeah, absolutely the world, how it feels. Yeah, it's and like I used to come back from like work at gin and juice at like 3 o'clock in the morning, high as hell off caffeine, and like play Resident Evil. Damn it, Red Dead until the sun came up. And I never finished the first one. And I really want to go back and play it. And I know you can play it on Game Pass. On the Xbox One, it's like on backwards compatibility. So I might get it when I'm home for Christmas and try and play it. But I can't really get access to that screen. But yeah,
I played Red Dead 2. It was fantastic. I loved it. Obviously, clouded by nostalgia with Red Dead 1, but because I played that so much when I was younger, mainly just dicking around, lassoing people and trying to put them in hilarious places.
Yep.
But Red Dead 2, I mean, in terms of, it's a better game, undoubtedly.
The story, like, I was so sad at my ending.
I was devastated. I almost cried.
I got the good ending, and so he watches the sun come up.
Yeah.
Right. And I was just like, "Fuck, this is heartbreaking." I actually like teared up a bit. I was like, "Game has never made me so like." And when I realized it was there was an epilogue. It's John Marston. I was like, "Thank God, right? Thank God, it's not."
Well,
they don't leave you as that.
I teared up, but not. If I got the sunset, I might have been way more sad. I was like broken. I was too kind of sad to actually feel tears coming. I got the bad ending where you're shot in the head and then spat on, and that's it. That is the last thing you see of Arthur Morgan. Like, are you kidding? I was so depressed after that. I still haven't finished that epilogue because I was just kind of like, you know what? I'm actually depressed by this ending. I can't deal with this game anymore.
That's hilarious. Were you like proper bad boy then? Because I made sure I had to redeem myself enough to get the good ending after all the terrible things I'd done.
I was, in terms of the story choices, I was kind of neutral. I did like bad and good things depending on how I felt. But with outside of the story, my Arthur Morgan was a complete psychopath. Like, I would go up to people camping, I'd sit down and share their whiskey with them and chat about stuff, and then stand up, lasso them, and chuck them on the fire like every time. So my reputation was in the gutter. I was a monster.
So my second playthrough, I didn't bother redeeming myself, so I got that ending as well. I should have gone back for the money, but I still saved John. But once I knew how it ended, I didn't think going back for the money there was any point on my second playthrough because you know how it's gonna go. Red Dead 2, and just enjoying the world that's there, and doing all the little. I tried to do as many of the little weird places, and followed some guides to find all the treasure and whatnot.
My main
I just wanted to ride around and enjoy the world. I once fell asleep to meet auto riding across the map.
I absolutely adored Red Dead 2. I thought it was fantastic. My only criticism would be that, and it's bizarre really, that in the post game you have the whole desert area completely unlocked and ready to explore. Yeah. And there's nothing there.
There's a few things.
Not really.
But nothing
to justify the amount of work that must have gone into it.
They've put in quite a few stuff in online there, I guess, but I guess they just wanted to hail back to Red Dead 1. But they could have done so much more stuff down there.
Yeah, like I don't. All I'm talking about is like post game, like just grindy stuff that you can just do post game and make it so that it's all in the desert area. Because I would have been so down for just playing more of that game, but I didn't get, because Arthur Morgan dies. I didn't, and I knew that then nothing happened in the desert area. I kind of had no incentive. That's how invested I was in the story. Like I was kind of like just emotionally drained after that ending.
Yeah, 100%. I did give it first time through. I gave it like a month in between.
Yeah.
And yeah, it did depress me, the ending as well. It's like, all of that. Arthur getting sick. Yeah. And it was like early on, you like cough a few times, and I'm like, "Fuck, am I just gonna get ill and die?" And I'm like, "Yep."
Well, also, the fact that the people who betray you in the gang are just they're such bastards. I hate them. You know, they're horrible. And
yeah, Dutch's betrayal is so.
Like, yeah, the whole betrayal is beautifully done. And it's kind of frustrating because Arthur, I guess he's just not like he's. I mean, if you play him as a good guy, he's a good guy. I think he's meant to be like a, you know, like a bit of a Han Solo type guy. And
I think
he's not very smart though. He wasn't smart enough to see through the deception before it got too bad. And
yeah.
It's such a shame.
Also, I think that because I don't know, like Arthur Morgan isn't mentioned once in Red Dead 1.
Yeah, I know.
So I think the canon is that he was a shithead. He was like, but he still saved John in one way or another. But he just doesn't get mentioned because
it makes sense that he's because he's not kind of just a bit of a shit, like not a hero, not a god, but he wasn't like, he clearly wasn't a villain,
and he probably he was more of a nuisance to Dutch and that lot in the end.
Yeah,
they didn't really see him as anything special. But oh well.
And he kind of wasn't, was he?
But someone no, but apart from he was a good shot. If you play him as that. But there was a nice thing I saw, which was like they rewrote the ending of Red Dead 1, where like Arthur is alive, where he never. So this is a world where he never beats up that guy to get the money. He never catches TB. He's alive after it all, and John goes to see him, and then the Pagadins turn up, and because there's the two of them there, John survives. I'm just like, oh, nah, yeah, it would have been nice, right? But I don't think that's the point of Red Dead Redemption.
No. So is that I am it's been a while. So he got TB because of that. How did he get TB?
He got TB because he collected some debts of
I forgot about that.
Mrs. Dowell's husband, whatever his name is, and he coughs blood into his mouth as he dies.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it just sort of goes down here from there anyway, doesn't it?
Can we... Sorry, we this is good convo, so I'm not actually that sorry. We will progress on to your next pick, but special mention to that entire chapter that takes place on the desert island, wherever it was.
Guarma.
That was spectacular.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah, me too. So this is the first, I think you kind of realize you're ill then as well. Like I did. You sort of see it in his eyes, don't you?
His skin gets worse. Like everything about him looks rough towards the end. Yeah,
because he's quite handsome at the beginning. When I replayed it, I realized how good he looks in the beginning.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's a mess at the end.
Oh man! And sorry, I just want to quickly mention the love story arc. If you play it properly, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Oh, I played that properly. Yeah. Oh, it's so heartbreaking.
Yeah. And also nice that you can try and visit everyone after the game. Alright, moving on to number 2. This one is going to be a controversial pick, I think. This is a game I really love. Really fan of the previous 2. Brilliant open world, semi-open world.
I know what this is.
Metro Exodus.
I didn't guess that. That's a good pick.
I really like the Metro games, the books. Exodus just stole my heart. I would sit on the train for hours and just watch Countryside go by in it, and like play the guitar with people and talk to them. And I just got so attached to the characters. It broke my heart when I got the bad ending the first playthrough. Because you die and you're like, oh, is that it? And then the DLCs are really good as well. I don't know if I can spoil it, but the second DLC you play as Sam, like the American guy in your group, and he tries to get home to the USA.
Oh yeah,
like a U-boat captain, and it's just it was really good. Yeah, and there's going to be more apparently. Which I'm
interesting. Okay.
Apparently, more Metro games are on the way. So I'm happy about that. I think the story is probably going to go bigger. Just like the different areas you go to, the feel of it, and yeah, the sort of
I've played
the disparity and the how like if you play on the highest level, there's no ammo at all. It's quite difficult.
So
I have a lot of fun.
I got Metro, the second one. Which one's that? Last Light?
Yeah.
Is that the second one?
Yeah, it's the second one.
I got that for free in a Comic-Con goodie bag. And I was kind of like, oh, what's this game? I've never heard of it. I was expecting it to be like some indie game because I'd never heard of it at the time. And I was like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't... I'm waiting for Exodus to be on Game Pass, actually. It's not a game that I'm not 100% sure if it's my sort of thing, so I'm kind of waiting for it. But it looks amazing. Like, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, I've got to get that ray tracing. Well, my plan is to replay it once I get that graphics card of yours, so I can play it with the ray tracing on.
Apparently, the ray tracing looks fantastic. Yeah. So.
It's just so visceral, the world, and I just sort of got lost in it quite a bit.
Attention to detail is
amazing.
Yeah.
Again, small little secrets and things to find all scattered all around, and like the characters are all really nice, and I just love the aesthetic as well. Like more so than any, I love post-apocalyptic stuff, of course, and like I haven't really. This gives it away, but I haven't really put an RPG on my list. Because Metro Exodus slid in front of the other, or in front of The Witcher 3. Which is my special mention, unfortunately.
No, please give it a special mention, because that will be the only repeated game on this entire bloody list.
Witcher 3 special mention, shout out, good fun, but I can't replay you. This is the only reason why. All these other games I've replayed, and I'm like, this is the thing about me. I don't replay games a lot. I do one and I move on. But everyone on this list I have played more than once, more than twice, maybe 3 times at least.
Yeah.
The other special mentions for other games would be Outlast. And Battlefleet Gothic Armada is the newest edition because I'm just sinking hours into it every day.
So can you give me one game that you would put as your special mention?
It would be Witcher. which was my special mention.
Right. Okay, fantastic. I've made a note of that.
Cool.
What is the best game of all time according to Blonde Jack?
Total War Warhammer 2.
There we go. There it is. What a game.
2,000 hours almost into that.
Yeah, I can't actually. I actually can't fathom that, Jack.
That
just blows my mind.
Yeah, it's.
I've never put that much time into a single game before. That's mad.
It came out in 2016, 4 years. Yeah, it's about 500 hours a year, I guess.
That's just insane. Insane.
I would leave it on sometimes all the day, and I would doing computational chemistry projects alongside playing it was also a big pastime of mine. It has so much replayability. It actually is a combination of 2 games in one, because the first one is incorporated into the second one, as all games should do. It has so many different ways to play it. I'm a big fan of Warhammer. I'm a big fan of real-time strategy. I'm a big fan of tactical strategy like Civ, and it does both. It's beautiful. Yeah. The models are amazing. It has a workshop mode that allows you to have stupid battles that are incredibly large and will break your PC. You should run on your PC, by the way, Jamie, because I get like 20 frames when I do something.
I really want to see what happens. Actually,
you should do some laboratory games, and I'll watch you play it, because you can have like unit sizes times 1,000 with the gravity all the way up, and you can fuck with the damage, and it's ridiculous. Because I think 3 is going to have like super battles by the sounds of it, because they want to test this technology out for 3. Because I think I have a feeling they might introduce like chaos demons, which might have the ability to mess with the physics of the game, because that would make sense.
Yep.
For demons in that universe, so like, messing with the gravity, for example, or the size of things, or it's just or having unit sizes that are ridiculous, like it. And then there's the multiple stories. The battles are just so ridiculous. God damn it! And once you get an SSD and play it on an SSD, it's so much better. The loading times.
When you, okay. So I've been to your place. I've seen that loading on a normal hard drive, and that I would go as far as to say that it's essential to have an SSD, because the difference is huge for that game specifically.
It's probably the reason I have 2,000 hours on it. Maybe 200 hours of it was before, and it was just waiting on loading times.
Oh, honestly, yeah.
So back before I had an SSD, I remember in 3rd year, Jamie, I played some of this game, and I knew if I had a load of particularly big battle, I would go for a cigarette, because it was 5 minutes or something that I would have to wait for the load, and so I knew I could just go and do something.
I didn't know you did that. That's
I was just like, oh, it's gonna be a while. I'll go make a tea or a coffee and have a smoke, and then I'll come back because it will be ready. But to that, they did do an update as well, like maybe earlier on this year, that cut down the turn times to like a minute from like 3 minutes. So it's so much better optimized than it was when it first came out, because of the size that they tried to introduce to the game.
That's a huge difference. That's a huge update.
Yeah, it made like turn times, because you can play the Mortal Empires campaign, which is both maps. And there's like 190. There's like 190 factions or something in that one. 110 factions, I think. Or somewhere there, they've added more each time. and they add to the map every with updates, and there's still DLC coming out for it.
I mean, Total War Warhammer 3 is coming out as a thing.
It's confirmed because it's going to come. It's going to do a super map with all three of them, and it will probably top this one on the list. Apparently, they're reworking sieges, which is the one bad thing about this game. Magic ladders are a bit weird, and also single directional sieges where it could be 360 degrees.
I'm Total War. I think that Warhammer 3 is going to be. I think 3 is going to be the game that I get invested in.
Yeah,
man, you know, it was a time thing.
100%.
There's so many games grabbing my attention, and it was kind of like I wanted to play those at the time.
Yeah.
But I know that it's an amazing game. Like, I've played it for a chunk. Like, I give it a good go. I don't know. I've got 30 hours into it. Like, I gave it a damn good go.
I'm glad that you've at least experienced it.
Yeah.
If you ever want to do a battle or just, have the odd chat where we just play some campaigns or you do some laboratory mode and mess around with the physics on your high-end PC.
I will be doing that. That sounds like a lot of fun. No, I want to get into it, and I feel like I'll really get invested into it when the third one comes out, because that's just probably how it's going to work out. Honestly,
it's probably the best way to spend time on it, because you will be able to get all of the things together. Because I've had that thought. I'm like, if that one comes out, does that mean I have to play it for another 2,000, 3,000 to get all out of the game?
No.
I really hope
you don't. You don't have to do that at all.
I really hope you can import your Mortal Empire campaigns.
Yeah.
I hope this figures something out.
Yeah, it's a good point, actually, because that's the first time they're going to be having to deal with that kind of backlog, because the second game invented that concept of adding the two together. So the third one might have to. Yeah, I wonder how that's going to. So it kind of felt like it would make sense to have it as an individual, launcher in itself. So you if you have just make a separate executable that just is in charge of that single thing, just so that it's very, very clear that.
How Call of Duty used to do its multiplayer and campaign on two different things.
I think that would make it a whole lot less messy anyway. Yeah,
I think that's a good idea, because I also wanted to bring up a point. So, for example, I conquered the entire Mortal Empire's map as dwarves, right? I spent a lot of time doing it. Am I going to try and do that again in the third game? Probably not. Right?
No.
What's the incentive to play the races that I've been playing up to now in the third game? I don't think there's an incentive. I mean, they have that much more to add. Unless they add a lot more to the world, that I don't think it will have the same replayability, even with the larger areas. Because we've had these areas for such a long time, right?
It couldn't possibly do that.
But it also will, of course, have a campaign set in the new area only.
Yeah.
And that will also be very replayable in its own right, as any Total War game is. So, and once I get used to the Chaos races, and maybe they'll add ogres and the weird, sorceress, Chinese allegory, Merle. There's a few of them, some strange races in Warhammer. If they add all that, then I'm 100% for it. But there's more DLCs coming for 2 in December, which, Also, I want to give a notable shout out to a game that I can't wait to play tomorrow, which is Ghost Runner, which will hopefully film my Cyberpunk.
Have you bought it?
Yeah. I can install it now.
Yeah, because I'm totally getting that too. I can't. I played the demo and I loved it.
Yeah, I'm actually installing it right now. Apparently, it's in preload, maybe 9.5 gig. Brilliant. Yeah, that's going to take up my weekend. Hopefully I won't get through it too quickly.
Yeah,
You
it's
never
it's,
know,
it's
right?
like a 6 to 8 hour campaign, but it encourages replayability. Obviously, like it's such a replayable game. It's so much
Yeah,
fun.
I had a lot of fun with the demo. Were you there on my birthday when I played it?
No, I wouldn't
Oh,
have
okay.
been.
I wanted to do a thing where we all get the demo and we try and beat it. Let's see what our times are.
That'd be fun. I'm very. I want it, and I have this thing in my head. But it's like I spent a lot of money on games recently. I should probably finish the ones I've already got. But I really want Ghost Runner, especially since Cyberpunk just got delayed. It's kind of like has that Cyberpunk. Oh, it's a completely different game, but it's obviously set in the same sort of world.
Please join us on more Barrel Trauma as well. So much fun.
Yeah, I wasn't hooked, but I do want to play some more for sure.
When you do it correctly, I think it's got a lot more rewards to it. Like trying to sort stuff out together and not just betraying each other and shooting each other all the time. But it's quite a mess. I get it, summary. But please join us more. It was lovely to have you there as well.
No, I did have fun. I need to play it more.
And we need to do more Gmod.
Yeah, we do actually. That's been a while. I haven't played that in a while. We should definitely do that. Yeah. Okay, so I've got this list now. Let me just. There's one thing I need to do, a bit of housekeeping, because I've made a mistake on this list. I've missed out some games. Right, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, so the best game, the top 10 games of all time, according to the Openly Beta Hitbox podcast, are as followed. Number 1. Oh, I've written. No. It's all good. It's all good. I made a small mistake. So, number 1 is joint between Pokemon Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Mass Effect 2, The Last of Us, Metro 2033, Spyro the Dragon, Ripto's Rage, Total Warhammer 2. That is the first place. The second place we have. Oh man, I've really cocked this up, haven't I? Apologies, viewers. In second place, we have joint between Persona 4, Zelda Breath of the Wild, Little Big Planet 2, The Witcher 3. Oh no! Oh, cock it. Right, ignore me. Just shift everything down, alright? Witcher 3 is number 1. Witcher 3 is the number 1 game of all time, according to this list. And the only reason why is because you gave it an honourable mention, which means it has a slight nudge above all the other ones. So Witcher 3, number 1 best game of all time, alright?
Oh, okay.
So, the third... the third... so we'll go back to third best games of all time. It's Persona 4, Zelda Breath of the Wild, Little Big Planet 2, Animal Crossing New Leaf, Metro Exodus, and Lost Planet 2. The third best game of all... No, fourth best game of all time is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Halo Reach, Skyrim, Battlefield 3, The Sims 3.
This should be third, because this would be third. Retro Exodus second on my list.
No, this is fourth, because Witcher 3 is bumped up.
Oh, right, yeah, I did that. Sorry, I ruined it all.
Okay. I'll be honest. I'm also kind of confused. So we're just gonna. At some point on this tier, below the other ones I've just listed, I'll read it again: Smash Bros. Ultimate, Halo Reach, Skyrim, Battlefield 3, Sims 3, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Skyrim. We've already written that. I've already wrote that down. Man, this is a confusing list. Okay, then the next tier down, which let's just say it's fifth place. There's Civilization 5, Towerfall, Spyro the Dragon, Rollercoaster World on PS2, Resident Evil 7, and Battlefield 3. The sixth best game of all time, according to this list, is Undertale, Street Fighter 4, Minecraft, PUBG, Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric, Warhammer, Dawn of War.
No, Dawn of War can't be the Sonic Boom. That's not right.
It's wrong.
There's something wrong with your list. Can we
No.
put Sonic Boom below whatever comes 5 from now on? I don't
Alright,
care
that's
what
fine.
Kara says.
That's fine.
It can't be.
And now, in 7th place, by default, is Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and Evolve.
I think these are turning from first places to tiers.
I think you're right. I don't think you can call these first places, can you?
I think you should make a tier. There can be a king of games, which is whatever gets mentioned the most, but you have tiers based on it. Because eventually you'll have games that have been mentioned 2 times and 3 times, and if you're counting it like that, it will be easier if you just tier it.
No, when they're mentioned 2 times, so if it's first place, it gets 5 points. And that's how it works. So basically the first game that gets repeated twice is going to become the first best game of all time.
How many points does special mentions get?
0.
But so it has the same amount of points.
It does. However, I'm putting them for the sake of having this list. And if a game is mentioned twice, even if it's a special mention, I'm giving it special points. All right, 0 in the world of Hitbox, the openly beta podcast.
Is worth
0 is not 0 value.
0.
No, it's not.
It's got number to it.
It does.
It's like how computers can't do. I don't know. Maybe you have to do a very, very small number. It's just above 0, but not quite.
It is like that. And you know what? I'm in charge of this podcast. I make the rules. And you know what? If I want to change how maths works, I'll bloody do it. Okay? That ends the podcast now. Do you have any final thoughts that you wish to bestow upon the legions of fans?
Yeah. Play Warhammer Total War 2 on the multiplayer, because there's an achievement on there that you have to beat one of the development team, or someone who's beaten a member of the development team, or someone who's beaten some of them, to pass this achievement around, like play. So play it, because I haven't got that achievement and I want to get 100% achievements.
What a wonderful way to finish this podcast. Almost as wonderful as me saying thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you don't like and subscribe, don't worry about it, because you probably haven't got to this part of the podcast to even hear me say it.
Thank you, Jamie. I love you very much. Thanks, audience.